Beastwars. God, I love this show. For those unaware, Beastwars was a spin-off Transformers series which ran in the mid-90s, with the gimmick that our characters transformed into animals rather than vehicles. It was also noticeable for being the first of the Transformers series to jump into the realm of CGI, which, though being pretty modern for the time, certainly hasn't aged too well over the years. But the show wasn't just different visually. Beastwars had a much tighter cast of characters, which focused on a more in-depth narrative, offering more dark and mature writing.
Oh, no, not that!
Well, for the most part. Season 2 in particular went into some pretty dark places, from moments of horror, attempted suicide, and even the discussion of euthanasia for the mentally disabled. No, I'm not kidding. Which brings me to the focus of this review, as we take a look at the incredibly dark and incredibly fucked up Season 2 episode, Transmuate. But first, a quick shout out from this video's sponsor, Scentbird. Scentbird is a fragrance subscription service with a mission to empower each and every person to express themselves through scent. A place to discover, explore, learn about, and experience scents just for you. Do you have a favorite fragrance? A fragrance that you hate? Or a powerful memory connected to a particular scent? Scentbird lets you choose a new designer fragrance to try every month for just $17. Every month you get to pick what you want to receive, so there are no surprises. They have perfumes and colognes and a lot of unisex options. With each fragrance, you'll get a 30-day supply so you can try out fragrances before committing to a full-size bottle. Scentbird carries brands like Prada, Gucci, Versace, as well as indie labels like Skylar, Heretic, and Confessions of Rebel. Use my coupon code STEVE55 to get 55% off at Scentbird. Available in the USA and Canada. Thank you to Scentbird for helping to support this channel. Make sure to check out the link below. Now back to the review. The episode opens up with the discovery of a new stasis pod. For those of you that don't know, these stasis pods would basically contain a new character to introduce into the show. By default, these would start off as a good guy, aka a Maximal, but if one of the bad guys got to the pod first, they could reprogram it into another bad guy, aka a Predacon. Both the Maximals and Predacons turn up to claim the new pod, but this pod seems a little different from the others, as it appears to be unstable and generates a large amount of energy which can even short-circuit the other characters. But what's more unusual is what emerges from it.
Man, I am telling you, the things coming out of these pods is just getting weirder and weirder.
The Transformer, later dubbed Transmuate, certainly has a more unique and uncanny design compared to the rest of the characters. It doesn't possess any animal transformation, and so has a much more basic and even primitive-like design, which even carries over to how it moves and talks.
Transmutate.
But I think the most notable feature which makes this character unsettling is the strange human-like face, coupled with those long black demon-like teeth. Ugh. Whilst the Maximals and Predacons are battling over who gets to recruit this strange new being, Transmuate is accidentally fired upon, which causes it to let out this chilling infant-like scream. What the fuck? The scream from Transmuate causes another surge of energy, which temporarily immobilizes the other characters, all except for a Predacon named Rampage, who, being a more powerful Transformer, can withstand the energy surge, and so takes the opportunity to escort Transmuate away. Rampage is handled really interestingly in this episode. He too was recently introduced into Season 2 from Stasis Pod, but we hadn't really gotten much look into his character, other than he's a powerful brute who doesn't care for anyone, not even wanting to fight alongside his fellow Predacons, and only having to do so because Megatron has possession of his spark. But in this episode we see a much more caring and empathetic side to him, as he relates to the pain and frustration that Transmuate feels, and thus offers to take him under his wing like a younger brother.
I will protect you. I am your friend.
He then presents Transmutate to Megatron, who is less than impressed.
Transmutate. An ugly name for an ugly creature.
And when seeing that Transmutate can't even transform, orders it to be destroyed. Rampage objects and manages to convince Megatron that with its raw power, Transmutate could prove to be useful. So Megatron decides to give it a chance to prove its worth by ordering it to bring the head of a Maximal. And yes, those are his words.
Have it bring me the heads of the Maximals invading our territory. But if it fails, destroy it.
They use Transmutate as bait for the Maximals, in which the character Silverbolt falls for, and ends up getting taken down. Transmutate is ordered to kill Silverbolt, but hesitates in the moment, in which time the leader of the Maximals, Optimus, shows up and manages to take out Rampage. Optimus and Transmutate then take the injured Silverbolt back to the Maximals base, where Silverbolt gets repaired, and where they then also carry out some analysis on Transmutate. And this is where things begin to get a little twisted. The scans reveal that Transmutate is too unstable and too powerful to be deemed safe, and so the only option would be to put it into stasis lock, which in Beastwars translation basically means euthanizing it.
Coupled with its sheer power, it's a danger to itself and everyone around it.
Best thing for us all would be to put it in stasis lock immediately.
What the fuck? Poor Transmutate. Man, you know you're fucked when even the good guys at the show want you dead. Whilst Transmutate is wandering through the base, he hears Rampage in the distance. Transmutate heads towards him, but Silverbolt turns up and begins to confront Rampage. Rampage and Silverbolt battle it out, and so in a bid to stop them, Transmutate flies between them, which leads to it getting caught in the crossfire. Transmutate lets out one final scream before exploding. Once the explosion clears, we see Transmutate's remains scattered around. Rampage picks up Transmutate's severed head, where he lets out his last words. Again, what the actual fuck? You remember that scene in the first Pokemon movie where Ash stands between the crossfire of Mew and Mewtwo, in which he gets turned into stone and everyone cries because they think he's dead? People always go on about how super dark and upsetting that scene was. Well, at least in that, Ash turns out okay. Here though, Transmutate dies right on screen, and the episode just ends with the characters standing around mourning its death. Not to mention hearing both the rage and despair in Rampage's voice after Transmutate dies. Man, that gives you chills. The episode isn't just dark because of Transmutate's death, but also with the episode's themes in general, as it brings up the discussion of euthanasia and even the idea of eugenics.
Are we Predacons now? Do we destroy whatever does not fit our definition of perfection?
I do like how this episode shows the darker side of both the Predacons and the Maximals, but I also loved how it showed a more complex side to Rampage and the struggles of him feeling different.
Yes, I feel your pain, your desperation.
It's just a shame that this aspect of his character is never really explored again, and after this episode, he just goes back to being his basic brutal self. At some point, I would love to cover the entire series of Beastwars, as it was a childhood favourite of mine, and there was a lot of other dark stuff to talk about in that show. Do let me know if that's something you'd like to see in a future review, and also let me know in the comments of any other particularly dark episodes from kids' TV shows that you think I should cover. But until the next one, guys, take care. Hey guys, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed this slightly older video, and thanks once again to Scentbird for sponsoring the video. Don't forget to check out the links in the description, but until the next one, take care.